It all began the night my wife said she was working late again. But this time, I decided to follow her. And what I discovered that night was something I never could have imagined. My name is Michael. I'm 38 years old, and until last year, I believed I had a happy marriage. My wife Laura and I had been together for almost 9 years. We had a small house, steady jobs, and a quiet life. Nothing flashy, but we were comfortable. Laura worked as a project manager at a marketing company. Her job often required late meetings and occasional business dinners. At least, that's what she told me. For the first few years of our marriage, everything felt normal. We laughed together, traveled occasionally, and spent weekends watching movies or visiting friends. But around 6 months ago, things slowly started to change. Laura became distant. She started spending more time on her phone. If I walked into the room while she was texting, she would quickly lock the screen. At first, I ignored it. Everyone deserves privacy. But then the late nights started. "Sorry, I have a work meeting tonight," she would say. Sometimes she came home at 10 p.m., sometimes midnight. Once, she didn't come home until almost 2 a.m. When I asked about it, she always had an explanation. Big project deadline, client dinner, emergency meeting. And every time, I believed her. Because when you love someone, you don't want to imagine the worst. But something in my gut told me something wasn't right. The moment that changed everything happened on a Tuesday evening. Laura was getting ready to leave for another late meeting. She looked nervous. I noticed she spent extra time choosing her clothes. She wore a dress I had never seen before. That's when the thought entered my mind for the first time. What if she wasn't going to work? After she left the house, I sat there for a few minutes debating with myself. Part of me felt guilty even thinking about it, but another part of me needed to know the truth. So I grabbed my car keys and I followed her. I stayed about 2 cars behind her as she drove through the city. At first, it looked normal. She drove toward the downtown business district where her office building was located. But then she did something unexpected. She passed her office building and kept driving. My heart started pounding. 10 minutes later, she pulled into the parking lot of a small restaurant I had never seen before. It was dimly lit, quiet, and definitely not a place for business meetings. I parked across the street and watched. Then I saw him. A tall man walked out of the restaurant and approached her car. Laura stepped out, and the moment I saw them hug, I felt like my chest had been crushed. This wasn't a quick, friendly hug. This was the kind of hug 2 people share when they haven't seen each other all day. They walked inside together. For the next 20 minutes, I just sat there in my car, trying to process what I had just seen. My wife with another man. Finally, I decided to go inside. I told myself maybe there was some explanation. Maybe he was a coworker. Maybe I misunderstood. But deep down, I already knew the truth. When I walked into the restaurant, my eyes searched the room. And then I saw them. They were sitting in the corner, laughing. Laura looked happier than I had seen her in months. Then the man reached across the table and held her hand. That was the moment my last hope disappeared. I walked toward their table. Laura noticed me first. Her face turned pale. "Michael, what are you doing here?" she asked nervously. I looked at the man sitting across from her. "Actually," I said quietly, "I think the better question is, who is he?" The restaurant suddenly felt silent. The man looked uncomfortable. Laura looked terrified. After a long moment, finally she said the words that changed everything. "This is Daniel." Daniel, just a name. But that name destroyed my entire marriage. "Daniel from your office?" I asked. She slowly shook her head. "No." And then she said something I never expected. "I met him 3 months ago." 3 months. 3 months of lies. 3 months of secret meetings. 3 months of pretending everything at home was normal. I felt anger rising inside me. But more than anger, I felt betrayal. "Are you having an affair?" I asked directly. Laura couldn't even look at me. She just whispered, "Yes." That one word felt like a knife. Daniel stood up awkwardly. "He thinks I should leave," he said. But I stopped him. "No," I said calmly. "Stay." Because if my marriage was ending tonight, I wanted to hear the truth. And the truth was worse than I imagined. Laura admitted they met at a conference. They exchanged numbers. At first, it was just texting, then coffee, then dinners, and eventually, it became something more. Why? I asked. That was the only question that mattered. Laura looked at me with tears in her eyes. I didn't plan for this to happen, she said, but I felt like something was missing in our marriage. That sentence broke something inside me, because for 9 years I had given everything to that relationship, and apparently it wasn't enough. I left the restaurant that night without saying another word. The drive home felt like the longest drive of my life. A week later, Laura moved out of the house. 3 months later, we finalized the divorce. I heard through mutual friends that she eventually moved in with Daniel. As for me, it took a long time to rebuild my life. But looking back now, I realize something important. Sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes it destroys everything you thought was real. But sometimes discovering the truth is the only way to finally move forward. So if you ever feel that something isn't right in your relationship, don't ignore your instincts, because sometimes the person you trust the most is living a completely different life behind your back.